Critical hits have a love-hate relationship with Fire Emblem fans. On one hand, getting that extra damage when you are in desperate situations can be exhilarating. On the other, when an enemy kills a unit with a low percentage crit, it feels like the game cheated you. Originally, this was supposed to feed into the permadeath aspect of Fire Emblem. In Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light, the first game in the series, there was no way to mitigate the enemy's chance to hit you with a crit. It was very likely that over the course of a playthrough, the enemy would occasionally deal triple damage. This was unwelcome of course, but FE1 was built around this issue. If a unit unexpectedly died, there was another similar, albeit weaker in most cases, unit ready for battle. Losing the occasional unit didn't matter all that much, but the series has changed a ton since then, but the critical hit has seen little to no change. Characters slowly became the focus of the series. Units being individuals was a means to an end. Permadeath meant a lot more when it wasn't faceless soldiers falling in combat. Now, Fire Emblem is completely and totally driven by its characters. This is of course most evident in the latest installment, Three Houses. The overall narrative of Three Houses is honestly pretty weak, but it tries to make up for that with character interactions in the story, supports, and a Garrick Mark Monastery. Losing a unit in Three Houses is so punishing both in story and gameplay due to the lack of playable characters and definitely the lack of recruitable characters in Part 2. An unexpected character death due to a crit is so frustrating in Three Houses, but at least they gave some relief from this issue with Divine Pulse. So, assuming future installments of the series will continue to be character focused in a similar manner, is there a place for unexpected increases in attack power in modern Fire Emblem? In its current form, I would argue it doesn't belong, but let's talk about how it could change to become a more fair and interesting mechanic. To do that, let's look at some great examples from previous games in the series. The most basic and common thing we see in this series is giving player characters high critical evade and enemies low critical evade. This makes the mechanic heavily player favored. I don't hate this way of handling it, but it still leaves room for outliers. You are still going to face those annoying 2 or 3% criticals every now and again, and that is what we want to avoid where possible. In other games we see skills that totally negate critical hits in tandem with the previous example. Radiant Dawn has the skill Fortune that negates the crit chance of enemies, and Genealogy of the Holy War has Nihil, which does much the same things in regards to critical hits. You can't put these skills on every unit in your army, but you are, in some cases, able to cover up a low critical evade weakness that some units have. So these two examples are fine and good, and they get the job done to some extent, however it still leaves a lot up to chance. I believe that Fire Emblem is at its best when the player has more control of the situation. Randomness has its place for sure, but the more planning the player can do, the more accomplished they will feel when the battle is won. With that, let's look at our final example that puts all the control in the player's hands. In Fire Emblem Thracia 776, critical hits are a tool for the player rather than a random happenstance. When used correctly, FE5 gives you all the tools you need to avoid and perform critical hits on command. These two tools are the Crusader Scrolls and FCM, or Follow-Up Critical Modifier. Crusader Scrolls are items that you find all over the place in FE5. They give bonuses to your growth rates, and more important for this discussion, they negate all enemy crit chance. So if a unit has one of the scrolls in their inventory, they cannot be crit by the enemy. FCM is exclusive to FE5. Every character in the game, ally and enemy alike, are assigned a number between 0 and 5. This number multiplies your unit's critical hit rate for any and all follow-up attacks. This multiplier often leads to having a 100% crit for your second attack, and it changes crit from a random chance to an absolute certainty. I don't think we'll ever see these mechanics return to Fire Emblem, apart from maybe an FE5 remake, but I have hope that Intelligent Systems will do something similar. With the more character-focused story and gameplay, more control and certainty is needed to make the player feel good about accomplishments. Divine Pulse is a band-aid for unexpected critical hits, whereas Crusader Scrolls and FCM are fixes to the critical problem in Fire Emblem. Anyways, thanks for watching, friends. Make sure to like and subscribe for more Fire Emblem content like this. We upload Monday through Friday, with the occasional Saturday upload if I'm feeling froggy, you know. And also we stream Monday through Friday, so please tune into that and all that. Subscribe so you don't miss anything. And share this video with your friends or on social media if you're feeling generous. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll catch you next time.